It's Charter Local Edition. Brad Pomerance here in the Inland Empire, joined by Ken Young. He's the Superintendent of Schools for Riverside County. And it seems as if the news is pretty good when we look at high school graduation rates. They are simply stated on the rise. What's going right, sir?
Well, Riverside County's high school graduation rate, Brad, over the last 7 or 8 years has really been a focus for our county. And as you remember, years ago there was a focus on dropouts, which there still is. But if you focus on graduation, the dropout rates just decrease. And so we put really a full court press on promoting high school graduation. Making sure that all of our schools were tracking the students right, that they were providing alternatives for our students to keep them engaged in school, strengthening the programs that are taking place in the classrooms. And our graduation rate has just kept going up. And the most recent results was 87.4%.
And those results are being duplicated throughout the state. Yours are particularly good, but still we're seeing pretty significant spikes in counties up and down the coast.
I think a contributing factor to that was this last great recession that we went through. People realized that if you didn't have a high school diploma, you couldn't get a job anywhere.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because what we know is that without that high school diploma here in Riverside County, it can be very difficult to get a job. I mean, the days of low-skilled jobs are simply shrinking. And to the extent that we have low-skilled jobs, they're leaving the Inland Empire in California, be it for Texas or China. And so talk to us about your efforts through a remarkable program known as College Kickoff Riverside County.
Right. Well, in 2014, as we were coming out of the recession in our county, and as we were looking at increasing the number of adults in our Inland Empire region who have a college degree, because we know that those jobs were more durable during the recession, and that those who had a post-secondary education had to go searching for jobs outside of the area, but they were able to land the fewer jobs that required that. So we've been putting a push for about the last 7 years, full court press again, on helping to create a college-going culture in Riverside County.
And let's talk about that, because you have some programs in place. I want to start, maybe going slightly out of order based upon but I want to kind of back it up. Talk about Race to Rigor.
Right. Race to Rigor is one of the areas of focus, which has to do with preparing more students and enrolling them in more rigorous courses than they would normally have taken.
And that includes, for example, AP, or Advanced Placement classes. And interestingly, I know that California, when compared to its national partners or national counterparts, has a higher pass rate in APs than other states. We do pretty well.
We do. We do very well. And so Race to Rigor is about courses that are more rigorous for students and preparing them and then enrolling them in those courses. Things like AP Potential, which comes out of PSAT test, help us see who has the potential and to prepare students earlier for that. And Race to Rigor, we use the term race because students have a limited amount of time in high school. And there's hundreds of thousands of students competing for entrance into post-secondary education. So it is literally a race.
At the same time, I know that Riverside County is taking advantage of a bill that was passed last year that allows for dual enrollment. AB 288 was that provision that allows community colleges to offer classes on high school campuses, which seems to play right into your Race to Rigor.
Right. So there's two different things happening. One is concurrent enrollment, which means that a student is leaving the campus and going to a college during the school time, and they're currently enrolled in high school concurrently, and they're enrolled in college. They're getting college credit. Dual enrollment is where the high school teachers are certified, they have the credentials needed to teach the college classes, and the college allows them to teach college classes on campus, and if students complete them satisfactorily, they get college credit while they're on their campus. So kind of the two efforts.
At the same time, there's the race to readiness.
Right.
Some kids on the other side of the spectrum, they just need a little remediation, and that's okay.
Yeah. So what happens is as you look at the grades going clear back into third grade, when students don't come out of third grade on a trajectory for post-secondary readiness or even career readiness, they need some extra help.
And I understand third grade is also the number that prisons look at to predict their populations.
There's probably some good data that's connected to that. When they get into high school, we've got 4 years left to work with them. That's their transcript years, where every credit counts.
Right.
And so when students are in there, we're really focused on helping them get the remediation that they need to be ready for college. And one of our community colleges in particular, Mount San Jacinto Community
Right.
College, has developed some incredible courses that students can take while they're in high school, either during the school year or during the summertime, that will help them get ready for college entrance without needing remediation.
There's no doubt that college is becoming more expensive. CSUs are about $7,000 a year. UC's about $12,000 a year. Private's about $50,000 a year. For kids that may want to go directly to 4-year, they may need financial aid. So you have a race to submit.
Race to submit, and that's the third leg of the component here. And so Race to Submit is about helping students complete their FAFSA application and the DREAM Acts and get those submitted. Because every year there's hundreds of millions of dollars that's left untapped.
Right.
We want our students that are in need to be able to access those funds.
And here in California, we have Cal Grants, Middle Class Scholarship. We have countless ability to obtain scholarship. And one thing I think you may agree with is that while private schools may have a big sticker price, they do have aggressive financial aid programs.
They have very aggressive financial aid programs. A lot of our students can make it to Ivy League colleges and full ride scholarship because of their academic achievements. And they want to make sure that there's a balance in historically underrepresented students in these schools. So we have students going to Harvard. We have students going to Princeton. We have students going to Stanford.
Nice.
They're going to the Ivy League schools.
And let's talk about getting to college.
Okay.
It's a daunting process, and the fourth leg of the college kickoff is the actual kickoff,
Yes.
when you're submitting your applications.
Right.
It's hard to know how many applications to submit. What's your sense on the application process?
So here's what we're finding, looking at the research and the data. Students will often check with a friend to see where their friend is going, and they'll turn in their application to the same college. One. Well, maybe their friend gets in and they don't.
Right.
They don't have plan B. And so we're encouraging students to apply for 3 or more colleges, and most of them are eligible for a fee waiver for the college application for financial aid. So we're encouraging students, send out your application to 3 different colleges. Send them early, get them in there, and then you'll have a choice.
3 seems like a solid number. Should there be more? I mean,
If they want to do more, that's great. Research has shown that students that submit 3 or more are much more likely to get into college and go to college than students that turn in a lower number than that. All of the school districts in Riverside County, is there college counseling offered? Yes.
To the extent that you make sure that maybe, when you submit 3 applications, one's a stretch, one's a perfect fit, and one's a safety?
Yeah. So the counseling that's going on in our high schools related to college is second to none. It's incredible. The ratio between counselor and student has been dropped down significantly. The focus on getting kids ready for college. We're going through and making sure that more and more kids are taking the courses that they need to be eligible to get into the CSU UC system. Those are called the A through G courses.
Sure.
Historically, students been off by 1 or 2 of those. Now the counselors are all over that, making sure that those students are in those classes.
His name is Ken Young. He is the Superintendent of Public Instruction for Riverside County. Brad Pomerance here, Charter Local Edition.